I could use this girl, because he's really gone into full sexy voice mode these days.
Yeah.
And he's like, I must tell Queen Beryl. And here's where I thought they had a weird cut, because they literally jump immediately to Queen Beryl going, yes, really good idea. But like, she's talking to him like she heard his thoughts just then. And she's like, yes, we will drain the energy from these girls using this girl.
She's not even in the sub-episode. So they clearly just used a clip from one of the previous episodes. Holy shit, this episode.
I am so excited. It was... I'm going to save it to talk about, but yeah. I may suggest some changes in format or just have a lot to say, because it was an experience.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
Yeah. So, I guess I should intro the podcast. Welcome to Sailor Moon Therapy Hour. I am Audrey.
And I'm Alison.
And today we watched, what was this called? Usagi Learns Her Lesson. Becoming a Star is Hard Work.
And my version was called So You Want to Be a Superstar, because I watched the dub and Audrey watched the sub.
Yay!
And I didn't watch the recent dub, as we've mentioned in previous podcasts. I watched the old original Deke dub, which, Audrey, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. Did your episode make sense?
Yes.
Because my experience was sort of like when you have a dream and each like individual piece connects, but all together you're like, what just happened? It was very surreal. It was very uncanny valley. It's the first episode when I've been really confused about a lot of things. And to me, it had a bunch of earmarks of just really ferocious tampering.
Ferocious tampering.
Like, written down, if I wrote this episode down, it all makes sense. But every scene and reaction and line from moment to moment and every bit of pacing made no sense and was very confusing to me.
Okay,
one second. I have a lot of questions for you.
I gotta turn off this Roomba because apparently it signed me on my app, so I can't control it from there, and it's just going crazy in the background, so I'll be right back. 1 second. Oh my god.
Podcast mascot, Roomba.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I see it. I think you should have the podcast mascot.
Yeah, just have Roomba. Like a little, oh my god, I could put my Lux, my like Sailor Moon Lux on top of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And a knife.
Okay, so do you think that, because I think it would be pretty funny to hear you explain this episode before I explain it.
I was actually thinking that, because our normal format is the person who watched the sub does the quick overview and then kind of walks us through and then we discuss. But my experience was so weird that I actually wanted to suggest that I try to get through this and you help me figure out what was actually supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
And I will say, to start with, that I thought the weirdest thing, because when it launches, they do that sort of, they don't do it in the Japanese version, but they do this like little like prequel of what's going to happen in the show. And I thought the worst thing was going to be guy in a dress jokes.
Yeah.
And that was actually probably the most neutral thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that they let that through.
Yeah. It also showed signs of tampering. Mm-hmm. So I have questions. So the quick summary, So You Want to Be a Superstar, this is a Sailor Moon episode where the bad guy's current plan is to use a talent show to drain the energy from everyone. So everyone's really excited about this female celebrity, I don't know what sort of celebrity she was, who is running a talent show, I think. And then the monsters subvert that talent show and brainwash everybody into participating in the talent show. But Usagi doesn't participate, and so she's able to show up and save the day and close down the talent show and save everyone. That sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
But what actually happened was very weird. So I took more notes than I've taken for any of the previous shows, because basically anything that happened on screen, I was like, this is so weird. And I was trying to write it down. And I kept having to back up because I was like, no, everything that's happening is weird. I need to write everything down. And my brothers, again, were watching with me, and they were like, something new is happening. And I'm like, no, I gotta back up. I'm still writing the previous weird thing down. So let me find the beginning of my notes. The problem is I looped back around and started writing like along the margins of the first page because I ran out of space. So it's very confusing. Yeah, okay, so the show starts, she's running to school, she's late as always, very classic Serena. She's like, I gotta stop and think of a good excuse for why I'm late, and she stops in front of a poster of the lady who's gonna be running the talent show. Her name is Saffron, and it says something like, Saffron's vitamins help give you energy. And I only remember that because I wrote it down. At that point, I still thought that was a weird thing. That's not weird. I just, at the time, I didn't know how weird it was gonna get.
Kind of mistranslated a little bit.
Already?
Yeah, so in the Japanese version, she's selling like an energy drink, and sorry, not Serena, Usagi, same thing, whatever. Usagi is running, and then she's so out of breath, she's like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to run all the way to the school, and I'm so late. And so she's like, oh, Mikan, who is the Japanese name of Saffron, I think is what they renamed her to. And so she recognizes her as like a celebrity, and she's like, oh, maybe I should get this energy drink and that'll help get me to school.
See, already that's a more logical like set of events, because I thought I gotta stop and think up an excuse was kind of funny but didn't really make sense, and then the transition to her looking at the poster was sort of random, and then the next thing that happens is you get the Brooklyn Molly voice, which I always love, going, Serena! And she goes, running by, and I didn't really understand what happened, but she runs by and hits her with her school bag, and then Serena gets mad at her, and we cut to school. And she says, I'm sorry, we were late, I panicked.
Oh.
Did that make any more sense?
No. So she runs by, and she does hit her over the head with that, and then when they cut to school, she's like, yeah, me hitting, she was like, oh, that hurt, and Molly goes, yeah, me hitting you like that got you here on time, didn't it?
See, again, that was what I would have guessed they meant to happen, because I panicked and hit you, and now I'm apologizing was just confusing.
Yeah. What is the reason for that translation change?
Literally everything in it felt like they were writing a script, and they were trying to, like, force it on top of what was happening on screen. Like, very frequently. So this whole episode, I kept thinking the mouths were weird, and I wonder if they were, like, re-editing the mouth flaps, because they all seemed very strange to me. Huh. And I don't normally notice that, but I kept going, what's wrong with their mouths?
Oh, I didn't notice anything strange about their mouths, so now I wonder.
And then a lot of times, like, the line they were saying didn't match with their expression, and then also the pacing was often really weird.
Yeah.
So in the school, we find out that Melvin has joined Saffron's fan club, and he's being very classically weird in Melvin about it. Unfortunately, I didn't write down all the weird stuff he said, but it was just weird. And Serena and her female school friends are all standing around talking to Melvin, and I would like to note that her female friends are back, but the fat girl has vanished.
Yeah.
Or become thin.
She was only there for Slim City.
Yes, fat friends
fat
are
jokes.
only for episodes about fatness.
Yeah.
They don't exist outside of that. So I was like, yep, she's gone forever. And Melvin is saying, they were like, did you steal that poster? And he's like, no, I joined her fan club and I won it for being her #1 fan. And then I think he brings up the talent show, and they're all like, oh, we could be talented. And Melvin's like, I know who could be talented. It's the amazing Serena. And everyone's mad that he said Serena was best.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a second to tell me if that's what happened.
I like this volleyball, like, back and forth.
Everything that happened, I was like, is this right? Because their reactions were all a little weird to what he was saying.
Yeah, so he didn't join their fan club. So Usagi's like, oh, did you take that from the drugstore? Like, he does have a poster. And he's like, no, I ordered it online. And in fact, I ordered a bunch of them so I can sell them to you at like a low price. And
okay, I like that.
And they're all kind of standing around talking about Mikan or Saffron, who was like 17, I think. And she was from their school. And she got famous. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's why they're all talking about stardom, and they're like, ooh, I think I'm going to be the next discovered star. And then he does point to Usagi and go, I think she'll be the next one. Yeah.
That also makes more sense. Mm-hmm. And that even might have been what he was saying, but I really couldn't parse that whole conversation. Yeah. I thought there was a talent show, which is why I was confused, because the talent show actually gets introduced later. As a bad guy's idea. So I didn't understand why he brought it up now, because it wasn't a real thing.
Because it's not yet. in the episode. And I don't think so. The dub is also, remember when I accidentally watched the wrong one a while back? It was this one, so I've seen the dub before, and from what I remember...
And remember it like a fever dream.
I do, because it was so weird. I didn't understand. Like, there were so many jump cuts. They'd clearly cut stuff out, but, like, I'm pretty sure they did not land the fact that Saffron or Mikan, whatever you want to call her, was from their school. And that's...
No, I don't remember that at all. And again, Melvin said a lot of weird things, and the way people reacted to him, though, they reacted like he was saying much weirder things than it seemed like he was saying. So I was just like, what's happening? So then we jump cut, and again, this felt a little weird, but we jump cut to Jadeite just being like, I think he was watching a TV commercial about Mikan, or at something where Mikan was. They called her Saffron here. And he's like, I could use this girl, because he's really gone into full sexy voice mode these days.
Yeah.
And he's like, I must tell Queen Beryl. And here's where I thought they had a weird cut, because they literally jump immediately to Queen Beryl going, yes, really good idea. But like she's talking to him like she heard his thoughts just then. And she's like, yes, we will drain the energy from these girls using this girl.
She's not even in the sub-episode. So they clearly just used a clip from one of the previous episodes.
Yeah, because the whole, like, him thinking that and then jumping directly to Beryl as if she could hear him thinking that, which raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, because didn't he have to speak through a TV before?
No, he was just talking to himself. Like, he was walking down the street thinking, and then Queen Beryl answered him.
Oh, I mean, like, when he was talking to his minion in, like...
You're right. They were...
So, like, now suddenly they can just telepathically connect?
It was very strange. And again, it was actually kind of out of place, but he's like, I'll use this lady. It's funny, I thought this happened later, but I guess it happens here. They've all decided that they're going to... I think to join the talent show, which, again, I don't think has actually been introduced yet, so it's weird. But yeah, so Molly and Serena have decided they're going to join the talent show. And they are in Serena's room. And Serena's like, we can be sports stars. And Molly's like, no, I'm your manager. And then Molly's like, we're going to do a rock video. And then Luna's like, please tell me she's not going to sing. Which, like, why is Luna such a bitch all the time?
Such a bitch in the dub.
I know it's supposed to be, like, comedic relief.
Yeah.
I don't remember her being such a bitch.
No, I did not notice any bitchiness from Luna, really.
Okay.
I noticed a little bit of sass, but for good reason that we can get into later.
No, because this came out of nowhere. She's just like, oh no, she's going to sing. And I was like, what's wrong with that?
I do want to mention, so in the sub, obviously Saffron, I guess we can just call her Saffron from the dub. But everybody keeps talking about what a Cinderella story it is because she was discovered like while in high school, and so that's what like all those girls are trying to get, I think, autographs or something, and Jadeite is standing in a trench coat, by the way, like just around the corner watching them, and I wrote Jadeite in a trench coat staring at young girls. What could go wrong?
Yeah, doing his like sexy voice that he's like learned over. Like he didn't start with that voice, I don't think. I feel like he cultivated that as he realized that was his superpower. Yeah, that was weird. I did the trench coat scene, but that was where they put in Beryl that didn't need to be in. And that makes, again, thematically so much more sense because they didn't really connect to me that, like, Saffron was, like, you know, a girl who had that rags to riches story, and that's why the talent show and everyone wanting that rags to riches. That's so much more interesting and thematically tied together. I said, and this is skipping ahead a little, but I thought that somehow the episode was maybe about teamwork because they kept emphasizing this team thing, and she has a fight with her friend, and she has a fight with Luna, but then it never comes up at the end. Like, she doesn't use teamwork to beat the bad guy, so I was like, I don't understand what that whole plot arc was.
Yeah, so in the Japanese version, so they use Cinderella thematically throughout the whole thing, and I was checking the wiki because apparently in the Deke version they completely removed all references to Cinderella, and I'll bet it's probably because of Big Disney.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah. They don't own Cinderella, though. Cinderella was written forever before. Yeah.
And that would be a reason, though, because I was like, why did they pull so much stuff out of this episode? But if they just didn't want to reference Cinderella, that might
But they
make
could have
more
just
sense.
translated it. They could have just said rags to riches story. Like, there's really no reason. Yeah. But, So Usagi's whole thing is, and I wrote it down, because you know how she says in the Japanese version, she's like castigating the bad guys. And she's like, how dare you place fake glass slippers on the hearts of young girls who dream of becoming Cinderella.
Okay, that's really good. Fake glass slippers on the hearts of young girl. Oh, yeah. I like that a lot. Right away, that makes a lot of things make more sense in this episode. So Luna's like, no, they're going to sing. And they start singing and dancing very badly. Yeah. And they're singing the theme song, but the English theme song. And they keep, I think they don't want to actually say, Sailor Moon. She is the one named Sailor Moon, because that would sound weird. So they keep trying to, trailing off and repeating before they ever get to that. And I did want to know, do they sing the Japanese theme song? They do. Which is less weird for them to be singing, because the Japanese theme song, never mentions Sailor Moon. It's about, finding your loved ones in past, present, and future, which is thematically very relevant. Yeah. And they probably didn't have to keep, cutting off really weirdly short on the song to not mention Sailor Moon, because it would be very weird for them to be singing about Sailor Moon. It was strange. It was very strange. And Usagi's brother, Serena's brother, who I keep forgetting exists, comes in and is like, stop that horrible noise. And Molly's like, you look like you'd make a great backup dancer. And he leaves. And she's like, see, I knew that'd get him to leave. And I was like, that is not what she actually said, right?
No, not at all. I don't remember what she said. It was just
But not that. Yeah. It was just go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strange. And so then they sing and dance some more. Serena steps on Molly's foot. They get in a big fight. And Molly's like, I could make your brother be my backup dancer, and he'd be better than you. And then they storm off. And as they storm off, Luna goes, and they say cat fights are bad. Oh my God. That's this whole episode.
So in the Japanese, they're just I think Serena calls her bossy or something, and Molly calls her oh, you're so clumsy, blah blah blah. It's they just kind of start picking on each other for those things, and then also, they just split up.
Can I say that bossy and clumsy are character traits we've actually seen both recently and long term from Molly and Serena, so it actually makes sense for those to be brought up. Mm-hmm. They were not brought up. I'm like, oh yeah, that I understand how that all ties together. Yeah. We even started the episode with Molly being bossy to Serena, and Serena clumsily late to school. So themes. The original story has a very solid sense of storytelling and theme and pacing. And
not so the original dub.
So smash cut. A hilarious smash cut to Serena watching TV and a sad voiceover as she thinks to herself, I was looking forward to being rich and famous. But now I'll never get to be. It was a really weird thing for her to think immediately after that fight. Oh.
No. No. So they don't show her family sitting around watching TV or the show they're watching?
And then they show her family sitting around watching TV. The dad says something about whatever's going on the TV, and she gets a great idea to go make Luna her star.
Okay. So in the Japanese, again, it starts with, I think, whatever's on the TV. There's some talent show or game show on, and the guy on the TV has trained this monkey. He goes, act sorry. And so the monkey puts his paw or his hand on the guy's knee or something and looks a little sad. And and then that gets brought up 2 or 3 more times for jokes throughout the episode, but I don't think that it translated. So she there's no voiceover. Her parents are just oh my gosh, look how clever that is that they trained this monkey. And then she looks at Luna and she goes, oh my God, that's it. I can just tell Luna what to do. And so she keeps telling her, act sorry. And Luna just, puts her little paw.
Okay. This is another thing where I was I knew they'd change something because the way they were cutting around it didn't really make any sense. So first of all, they didn't really show what the monkey did on TV. And I didn't really understand what had happened.
Why would they cut that?
The act sorry thing. Well, because what they did was they changed to, they just cut to Luna, being tired, and they imply that Sailor Moon has been trying to get her to sing and dance and to teach her to sing and dance. And they kept implying that she was making Luna dance, but because they never showed it, I was like, I know this isn't what's happening, but what are they cutting? Yeah. I couldn't figure out what she was doing to Luna.
Yeah, it was literally just Luna putting her paw out and, like, kind of bowing a little bit to look sorry. Yeah.
I mean, that's so much cuter.
Yeah, and then she brings it back around at the very end in the Japanese where Luna tells her, act sorry, and so Serena puts her hand on the window and, like, looks sad.
Okay, that's honestly very cute.
Yeah.
And again, better storytelling. Mm-hmm. But again, the weirdness in the cuts was like, I was like, I know this is not what's happening, but I don't know what is happening. And that was my whole experience with the whole thing. It was like, I know that what they're saying isn't what they're saying because everything is strange.
Yeah.
So then we cut to where Molly's gone off to and where Serena is trying to make, I guess, Luna dance and sing. Molly has recruited Melvin and put him in a dress and lipstick. And I will say that I was immediately like, oh God, they're doing the guy in a dress joke, which they definitely were. But they didn't do it as badly as they thought they would. Mm-hmm. And it almost, like, if it wasn't clearly meant to be funny that he was in the dress, it almost, everyone was so chill about it most of the time that it almost could have just been like, yeah, of course he can wear a dress if he wants to, which would have been very cool. Mm-hmm. No, they didn't hit that, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But again, she's making him, be her new sing and dancer partner. She's bossing him around. And he says some stuff, and again, there's an exchange where I can tell they've changed it.
Yeah.
Because he gets, he's like, oh, this dress isn't my color. And then she's like, you could be a star. And he's like, really? And he starts giving his, like, thank you acceptance speech, which makes Molly very uncomfortable. And then she's got the, like, appalled blue anime face, like, thing going on. But she says in a cheerful, happy voice actor tone, I think this could really work. And I was like, that's not what she said there.
No, she said, maybe a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing will make me the star. Yeah, so by contrast,
thematically,
she'll look great. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Cinderella thing tied together. Did he start giving thank you speeches? That actually felt like he might have done.
I don't think so. I don't really remember, actually.
That wasn't that weird, so I wouldn't have been surprised. But I could tell she was saying something negative, but they translated it as something positive, and I was very confused.
Yeah, she was definitely making fun of it.
I do understand what her face expression is saying. Yeah. Like, you could have edited that, too. So now, we finally have the monster show up, and the monster is going to go and get Saffron and take her place. And they do it like the scene from Psycho, which is kind of dramatic and cool, but also felt kind of rapey because we have like lady in a shower showering.
And she's still only 17, I think. So.
Yeah. We have this blue monster lady show up and like spit like strings, goopy sticky string at her and wrap her up naked in the tub. Mm-hmm. And they kept like showing her like struggling and being like, oh no, will someone help me? Oh no. And it was kind of weirdly sexual. And it made me uncomfortable.
I feel like it was way faster.
It was at least, it was at least dramatic, and I did like the drama and the camera angles were all well done. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. Because, like I said, it was the most interesting thing that happened in the episode. Just camera shot-wise. I did want to say that here the monster uses some sort of, I thought it was water, but it was sticky, so I think it's like a spider web or something. But then at the end of the episode, she used ice, and I was like, I feel like, I don't understand what that character was supposed to represent. Why was she blue? Why was one of her attacks sticky and one of her attacks ice? What did that tie thematically into anything that was going on in the episode? I don't know.
No, they just changed it because they were afraid. So again, I checked the wiki because in the Japanese it's glass. So she's spewing glass onto them, and then
that makes
and then it
so much more sense. Cinderella, okay,
and
she did glass both times.
Yes, and they changed it to ice in the dub because they didn't want kids to think that they were gonna suffocate. Which I don't know how ice wouldn't
suffocate in ice. Also, I wonder if the reason it looked like sticky string was it more clear in the sub? And they drew lines over it when she was naked?
No, it did kind of look sticky. But then, glass does kind of look like that when it's hot.
It wasn't clear. It was like stripy.
It was very blue. It was like blue
Yeah.
in the sub.
But I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah. It does look like string, but the only thing I can think of for that, is that maybe because, glass, when you're working with it and you heat it up, it does kind of like stretch and look sticky.
I'm pulling up Hulu right now. I'm going to double check this. We're going to pause. I just want to make sure that it's not different. I think you're right. They didn't change it because that seems like extra work, but I am curious. Sailor Moon, it was episode like 8, 7?
Yeah, I think it's 8.
It's like 4 for me. It's amazing how many episodes they've skipped.
I know.
Yeah, so the monster shape changes and takes her form, and we cut to the monster announcing the talent show, which was, again, very weird to me because I was like, I thought she was already holding a talent show. And her managers are like, you're not supposed to be doing this. And she's like, yeah, I'm doing it. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
So just right there, I remember, because I did recall watching the dub, like, who are these 2 random men who are over here? Because they just, like, jump into it. So she has this whole group of kids around her, and she, I guess, is, like, putting on a show for them or something. But then she starts, like, she sends out through her microphone the vibes, and they're like, ooh, what do they say?
I have a comment.
Oh, wait!
I have a comment.
I forgot something about
Okay.
Marvin and Molly.
Okay.
She convinces him Usagi will find him attractive if he learns more social skills, claiming
probably true.
that dressing up like that was going to be learning social skills.
So instead of going for the you're going to become a star, she went for the, like, Serena will like you in a dress.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't want to send that message to American children aren't allowed to think dresses are beneficial.
Yeah, I guess.
But unless you're a girl. I was going to say real fast, because I think you're talking about the hypnotism. I was so confused because she starts hypnotizing the crowd to participate in the talent show. Mm-hmm. And they all get really excited. And I was like, but they all already wanted to be in the talent show. Because in the American, they'd already... So I was like, why do the bad guys show up and hypnotize people to do what they're already doing?
Yeah, because in the sub, she has just announced that, so there wasn't a talent show. And they call it the Cinderella Caravan Contest.
And is that why? Because the other thing that was really weird was she made a big deal about, and you have to join in teams of 2. And we're going to have teams of 2. And I was like, why... Teams of 2. But Cinderella Caravan maybe
has nothing
maybe
to do
talent
with
shows just
nothing to do with anything.
Maybe they just have maybe they just have teams of 2 in Japan for talent shows. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't mention anything about teams of 2. But she does announce the contest, and they're all excited already. But then she starts hypnotizing them, and they're all like, "Oh, I want to be like her. I want to be like her." And then a cop shows up, and he's like, "Hey, like, you're not supposed to be here. There's like a huge crowd." And then her manager's running up, and he's like, "What are you doing? Like, why have you canceled all of your shows all of a sudden?" And then, of course, they get hypnotized as well and then get goofy.
And the cop and the manager team up and become an amazing handstanding talent duo, and it was the best part of the entire episode. I was so happy. Yeah. I was like, that's good. Yeah. They were like suddenly like, oh my gosh, we have a talent. And it was great. Yeah. I really liked it. I was going to say that with the whole teams of 2, this is where I was like, I thought maybe they were trying to do some sort of teamwork theme because they had the whole, like, we're having a fight, and now me and Luna are having a fight, and now everybody's joining up in teams, and I was like, something teams seems to be the theme. Nope, okay.
No, nothing about teams whatsoever.
We have another weird cut to Luna, like, is sad, and she lies down on the sidewalk like she's tired, and again, I don't know why. And she's like, no, I'm not going to go to this talent show after all. And I'm not going to do it. And Serena's upset, and she's like, also, I think you're forgetting your mission, Serena. I think this is going to distract you. And it was like, what? Where did this come from? And she says, and also, I think this whole thing is very suspicious. And I'm like, Luna, where are you getting all of this? This all happened really fast with no context. And then they show a long hold on Usagi looking up at the sky. And they hold on it a really long time, and then they have her make crying noises, which is weird. And then they cut to another pose where she seems to actually be crying. And then they cut to another pose where she's running away. And again, she's making crying noises, but none of the expressions match up.
Why did they do that?
Because she had a fight with Luna, and Luna wouldn't go to the talent show with her.
No, so in the sub, there was no need for all of that cutting. It makes way more sense because, she's obviously in an argument with Luna because Luna doesn't want to act sorry. She doesn't want to do the thing, and she's miserable with it. And she's arguing to get out of it, and does accuse her for forgetting her mission and that they have, stuff to be doing. And Serena starts crying and then running away. And then she sees Darian. And,
yeah, I got that. Yeah. Which was also a very weirdly cut scene.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, did Luna say that the whole talent show was suspicious?
No.
Because she's going to say something later
they don't
that
know about it yet.
That. Yeah, and
I don't think
she's
they know
going to say
about it
something
yet.
later that contradicts it, so it was really weird. Yeah, so then we see Darian, and Serena runs by crying, or upset, I can't remember, and he goes, hey, and she sees him, and she runs off into an alley, so he follows her into the alley, which is a great way to respond to a girl that runs away crying when she sees you. And he walks up to her smiling. It's a wildly creepy smile. They hold on his face way too long, repeatedly. And they have, like, a conversation where he's like, aren't you going to join the talent show? All your friends are in there. And she's like, no, I have other things to do. I'm going to go do my homework. And she leaves. And then they go back to his weird, creepy smile and hold on it for a while. And it was like, what are you doing, Marion? It's really upsetting me.
Yeah, so in the sub, it was actually kind of sweet. Like, he was like, hey, what's going on? Why are you crying? Or something like that.
It's a much more reasonable response to someone running off crying.
Yeah, and she doesn't really want to talk. And he was like, oh, hey, Miss Bunhead. Like, why are you crying? And she's like, I just not right now. Like, I don't want to deal with this right now. And so she runs off. And then he does kind of stare off after her. But it's kind of more like, I think it's the first moment where he wasn't just mean to her. It was, like, actually kind of sweet that he was like, oh.
I was like, I thought that might be what was supposed to be happening, but it was not what happened on the screen. What happened on the screen was very upsetting and creepy.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't like this vibe.
Because I think in the sub, really, what she's crying about is more, she doesn't get to follow these dreams of becoming a star. Because she doesn't know about the talent show yet, I don't think. I think they're supposed to be like an appearance or something by Saffron, and yeah, I might have to go back and double check, but like it's kind of like the Buffy thing, right? Where she just wants to be a normal girl, but she's got this mission that she has to take care of, and I think that's kind of more of why she's crying. That and Luna won't do what she's asking her to do.
And if we remember, in the sub, there are actually three cut episodes, but two right before this, where we've seen a ton of growth and her stepping up to her mission and her really getting into this. So it's actually a really logical arc that she's like starting to be like, but do I also get to have me things? Right. Like, no. It fits really nicely. In the dub, it's just like, she's still just like, I don't like being Sailor Moon. I haven't ever done anything useful, and I'm never going to do that. That's mean, but this episode was very strange.
Yeah.
So then we see some of the people at the talent show, like, practicing. Molly and Marvin are now doing the Sailor Moon dance, which I found very funny. Two of the other girls have started, they're going to do a joke act, and I just wanted to share with you the one joke they did tell, because I thought it was really funny, my brothers thought it was very stupid, and it is, why do elephants wear green sneakers? So they can sneak around in the grass.
In the grass?
Yeah.
So this is something that I understand why they cut it. Because in the Japanese, they're telling this joke about how they're at a convenience store and they were asking for something. I can't remember what it was. And the guy says it's under there, and she goes, underwear? And then she holds up like girls' underwear, like, and then he handed me this, and it's underwear. And I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
And then I think she goes, get it? He said under there, and I said underwear, and it's
okay. Yeah. Honestly, I get why they cut that one.
Yeah,
because
fair enough.
Inappropriate. Although I like that both of them are sort of like unfunny non-jokes, and both of them did make me smile. So I enjoyed it. My brother's like, I don't get that joke, and I'm like, that's the point. It's just really not funny. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be good.
I'm gonna start telling it.
Yeah.
We see the evil lady who's impersonating the talent person do an evil face. We cut to Serena arriving at her class, trying to like chat with people. Hey, Molly, want to go do something? Hey, people want to do something, but they're all like obsessed with prepping for the talent show. So she's like, something's kind of odd.
Yeah.
Marvin walks up to her and is like, hey, Serena, have a streamer. And I just thought that was funny. I don't know why.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the streamers were for.
I think it's just something you use to celebrate in the classroom. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they all think that they're gonna be like her, you know, like Saffron, and so maybe he's celebrating. But famously, that is one of the most famous cuts, I think, from the dub, where she throws it at him and it hits him in the face, and they cut that in the dub.
Wait, she threw the streamer at him?
Yeah.
I didn't... Actually, her having a reaction there makes more sense because we just went immediately to the next scene, and I was like, what was the function of that scene?
Yeah, it's definitely that, hey, why is because they're obsessed. Like, they're not even doing schoolwork. They're so focused on stardom. And then he's handing out streamers to everybody because I think they're all practicing and not doing
because
schoolwork.
We didn't get to see her have that negative reaction. I honestly thought she was like, this seems cool. They all seem to be having fun. And then she just went on with her life.
No, she definitely thinks it's weird and she's annoyed. Because she missed... Yeah. I think she also is annoyed that she missed the appearance.
Tryouts.
Yeah.
Because, and I know every single scene I've said, and so then we cut to another scene I don't understand.
Yeah.
But then we cut to another scene I don't understand. Because she's sitting with Luna watching, I guess, people get ready for the talent show. And Luna says, are you really sure that you're not still angry with me for refusing to be in that contest? And Sailor Moon goes, no, I'm actually really happy. And Luna goes, but they look like they're having so much fun. And I was like, Luna, you were all over. Like 5 minutes ago, you were like, this looks really suspicious.
Luna is such a bitch in the dub. So corrections. Corrections corner. So in the
the whole episode.
In the sub, Serena's obviously like watching them practice, and she's sitting there with Luna, and they're like, aren't they all acting like really weird and obsessed? She was like, yeah, like they weren't even focusing on school. And Luna's like, yeah, something's off. And Serena's actually like, I'm glad that I didn't go to that because they all are acting like hypnotizers. Like they're all acting super weird. So let's follow them and find out.
And this is what I mean about how in the dub, like, none of the lines fit together in a logical progression. Because, like, they had Luna say she was suspicious earlier, but nobody reacted to it or followed up on it. And then here, Sailor Moon kind of implies she's suspicious by saying, no, I'm glad, but Luna doesn't seem on the same page. And they don't follow with that suspicion to why they're investigating in the next scene, which I didn't even really realize. We literally just cut to, I thought this place closed down months ago.
Nope.
Weird. So we go to the place where they're having the talent show, and first of all I want to say that as the lady is hyping everyone up for the talent show, they were playing music in the background, and it was a weird English music. There was English singing going over the background of like, I want to be a star, I want to be a star. And I was like, I don't think they were playing this song in the Japanese version. It really sounds like they asked someone on set, can you please just ad-lib a song about wanting to be a star?
Yeah,
and they made it up on the spot.
That is not in there.
Do they play any music?
I don't remember. I think it was just like kind of like ooh 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 like music, and
yeah, they weren't like having vocals going in the background.
No, and she was saying, so evil Saffron is like, oh, the crowd is waiting for you, and it cuts to an empty theater, but they're all behind the curtain because they're so hypnotized. And so then she opens up the curtains, and then they all start performing at once. But she also has a disco ball. So before she opens up the curtain, she like magics the disco ball or something, and it creates these like shadow people in the audience. And then they all perform.
Was very cool. I don't know if that happened quite that way in the sub or not, or the dub, because I was distracted writing things down. And I know that later on it was like, are these audience members real? And then they weren't. I think that probably actually did happen, but if they cut it, it would be really annoying because that does sound very cool.
Yeah,
I did not.
Because I also think that Serena's looking in and sees that it's empty. So like before that all of that happens, she's like, oh, is this where it is?
I did write in my notes, because this is where she finally starts stealing energy. And I did write in my notes, that was a really long build-up to start stealing the energy, when it feels like she could have just done it to that crowd that she hypnotized earlier.
Yeah.
Like, what was the advantage to...
I don't know. I do think it's a bad plan. I think just hands down, it's just not a very good plan.
I was like, why did we take over a talent show that already existed? But, like, apparently it didn't. Why did we hypnotize people when they were already doing it? Well, apparently they weren't. Why did we not just go for them then? Why didn't... My brothers were like, maybe she's draining the audience, but the audience wasn't real, so I guess not. So she does finally do her first creepy, and here there was a few points where some things happened, and again I think they were out of order because a few times she's like monster and then she's normal again, and then she's monster and then she's normal again, and I was like, I don't. Normally they do monster all at once and they don't go back, but at this point she twists her head around backwards and has the monster face, and she looks at Serena and goes, "May I help you, dear?" And it was really creepy.
Oh, I'm surprised they showed that. She, I can't remember what she said, but Sailor Moon, like, does walk in, or is she still Serena at this point? And, and she does turn around and notice her. And it, like, looks like her neck completely turns 180. So gross.
Yeah, it was effective. But then the next time we see her, she's not wearing monster face again, so I wasn't sure if that had actually happened. So...
Oh, so they must have put stuff out of order, because she definitely, she turns into the monster from there. So
yeah, no, we see her again normal later, and then it was weird. So this was another part. The beats were really off. So either they were cutting it and it just didn't pace right, or they changed it. But Sailor Moon gets scared by the monster, and she runs away and hides in the bathroom. And Luna's like, Sailor Moon, you gotta come out of the bathroom. And Sailor Moon's like, okay, and she comes out of the bathroom. So I was like, what was the whole point of this? She's hiding in the bathroom. And Luna's like, no, you can't hide. And she's like, okay, so she comes out. And it was like, was that, what? I didn't understand it.
So, okay, yeah, so she's still Serena at this point, and she sees the creepy neck turn. She's like, what the heck? And so she runs, because it's scary. And she hides in the bathroom, and she doesn't want to go out and fight. And then Luna's like, yeah, but your friends are out there, and, like, they're in danger. So you need to go take care of them. And so she's like, oh, you're right. And so then she transforms.
Okay. Again, it was like, this scene...
Why change that?
If the emotional beats had been a little better. I think she did say something about the friends, but it didn't land.
Yeah.
It landed like she was just told her not to be scared, and she's like, you're right. And she was like, I don't understand what's happening.
I don't understand.
But I think, if it was like... Because it does fit that she's like, that was really scary. And she's like, I know it's scary, but, like, you're friends. And she's like, you're right, I'm going to help my friends. Like, that's a better... I would have understood that. Okay. This next part was honestly the weirdest of the whole show. And every part has been weird. So, Sailor Moon shows up to have her fight. Oh, I will say that I'd forgotten the English, like, phrase she says, and it is really cute, which is the... On behalf of the moon, I shall right wrongs and triumph over evil, and that means you. Yeah. I still really like that.
Yeah.
It's cute.
So this is where she says in the Japanese, how dare you put fake glass slippers on the hearts of young girls, like that whole thing.
That's honestly a very good line, too.
Yeah.
So I like both of them. But she shows back up, and she's like, you don't scare me, and then immediately runs away and hides again. And that sounds funny, but it wasn't delivered like it was funny in the show. It just felt like out of place in the show. So, but it could have been delivered in a funny way.
So the monster spits it. Does the monster spit at her and then she runs?
I don't think so.
So in the Japanese, she like, they're like performing or whatever, and then she closes the curtains to surprise.
Yeah, she does. The curtains. She does say the curtains have closed on your reign of evil.
Oh my god, that's great. And so she's saying she's gonna punish her. The monster jumps to attack her and spits her glass at her, and she like tumbles out of the way, and then is hiding in the chairs, which I think is where you're at now.
I think she might have spit, but it was still really, she's like, I'm not scared of you. Monster does anything at all. She runs away. I was like, I don't know what's happening. So she's crawling around hiding in the chairs, and there's a whole thing where she can't find Luna, but then like Luna's there later, and it didn't really make sense. But she literally, she turns, she's looking through the chairs, and they have her do a fourth wall break, which I'm like, what? 95% did not happen, because she looks at the audience through the chairs and goes, let's see if I wrote it down. Hang on. If you see Luna, please tell her I could use help right now.
What? Were they trying to make Blue's Clues?
This is where I was like, am I having a lucid dream right now?
Wow. No. So in the Japanese, she's saying, Luna's never around when I need her. Like she always... And
she's not talking to the audience.
No, she's not talking to the audience. Wow.
Because I was like, what? Who? Me? What?
I love... So then So Deke must have been really trying to capitalize off of, like, the kid show trend of, like Blue's Clues. Where's a clue? Where's Luna? Like, that's so weird.
I wonder if they ever do that again. Because it was
probably
really weird.
Not.
And maybe they tried it once and were like, this doesn't really work. Yeah. It was very strange. And it was weird because I was like, well, where'd Luna go? She was with her like 3 seconds ago. And my brother said she was probably like operating the curtains for her. But,
That's such a good point. I was wondering how she did the curtains. But yeah, like, so it's kind of a joke that she's like, Luna's never around during the fight. Really.
So then the monster freezes Sailor Moon, and it's a really long, drawn-out scene, which Sailor Moon keeps narrating in horror and explaining that she's being frozen. Oh, no, she really needs help. Where's Luna? Oh, it's really unpleasant. It's, like, creeping up her. It was like, this is kind of more horrifying than if she just froze her.
I don't remember it taking that long.
She finally, after, like, a long, like, now my legs are frozen, now my body's frozen, now my hands are frozen, now my face is frozen. I'm frozen. While she's going, no, please, I don't like this. I was like, this is really upsetting.
Yeah,
where's Luna? I need help.
She's just like, oh, I can't move.
and I was going, where is Luna? Because also, like, Sailor Moon, your arms are still free. Throw your damn tiara.
I know, right?
So then, after she's completely frozen, a rose flies in and hits her hand and shatters all of the ice.
Clutch Rose moment.
Yeah. Shatters the ice, I guess without shattering her. And once again, this was very funny. So we haven't seen, by the way, Tuxedo Mask in the past 2 or 3 episodes.
Something like
She's
that.
handled things completely by herself. I think it was 3.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Darien in like 2 episodes. So to be fair, in the dub though, he's saved her every single time. They've cut every episode where he doesn't save her, which is an interesting point that I'm gonna dwell on later.
How strange.
Right?
And there's been no character development in the dub.
He shows up, he throws the rose, and this is the extent of his entire interaction. He goes, you must believe in yourself, like in a very judgmental way. And then she goes, thank you. And he goes, don't mention it. And he just turns around and bails.
I don't remember what
that was it.
I gotta look up and see what he says.
It was his whole interaction.
Hold on. Because he does bail. That's classic Tuxedo Mask move.
It's classic, but it's still really funny.
Let me see.
Like, he just shows up, believe in yourself. Bye.
Believe in yourself, damn it.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, you're the star of this show now, Sailor Moon.
See, that's a way better line. It sounds like it's on theme. It doesn't sound judgy. It doesn't sound like he showed up to just be like, you're fucking doing a bad job. Bye.
Yeah, and she says, thank you. And he's like, good luck. And then runs away.
I think don't mention it and leave suggests he's just very socially anxious. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's always on high things. Like, he needs distance from people because they make him anxious.
He spends entire episodes finding high places to go stand on. And in this one, I love that he also has a spotlight on him. So maybe that's where Luna is controlling the spotlight for him.
She's like,
she's the techie. She's doing curtains and spotlights, guys. She doesn't have time.
Her little pause. Yeah. She doesn't want to say, I'm sorry, or dance. She wants to work behind the stage.
Yes, she's a producer-director.
There we go. Oh, she's Sailor Moon's manager, not Molly.
Yeah.
So then finally Sailor Moon throws... Luna's there again. She throws her tiara. The monster's, like, chasing Tuxedo Mask and has her back turned. I don't know. It was weird. And she shatters the bad guy. And I noticed, and I don't know if they've done this in the past in the dub, but for the first time I noticed that she specifically says... As the monster shatters, she goes, I banish you back to the Negaverse. And it was like, oh, because they don't want to say she died. Because I noticed that they had been allowing her to kill the bad guys on screen, and I thought that was really weird. But, okay, we've written in that she's not killing them. She's banishing them back to the Negaverse.
No, they're dead.
No, they're in the Negaverse. Does she even know what the Negaverse is? Has anyone mentioned it in her hearing?
No, because also there isn't a Negaverse. Like, it's completely made up by the dub.
I forgot about that too. Was it Queen Barrel?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where I had to, like, start turning around and writing on the next page. So we cut to, like, really abruptly, Luna goes, you defeated them, Sailor Moon. And everybody on stage goes, what a weird dream. And the lady who's got taken over, the talent show lady, we cut to her in the bathtub and she goes, I must have been working too hard. And this is where my brother turns to me and goes, this woman has been in her bathtub for days.
Yes. And it's still weird. And so I was like, because she just kind of wakes up and goes, oh, and like, I don't think she even says anything. But I'm like, so you were definitely stuck in there for days.
Yeah. Like, and she's just going to shake it off. Everyone shakes it off.
It's showbiz.
Extremely strange because they built up the fight with her and Molly and the whole teamwork thing so much. It felt extremely strange that we never had her reconcile with her friends or talk to them again for the rest of the episode.
It's almost like that was a made-up plot.
But we cut to Luna goes, I was really proud of you. Now study. Now prove me right by studying. Which, again, like, they make Luna such a fucking mom in this. It's a weird vibe.
So let me see what they say. She just talks about being exhausted. And then Luna, oh, hold on, let me read this to you.
Is this now say you're sorry?
Yeah, so she's just going, huh? Saffron is just like, what? Because she woke up. Sailor Moon's exhausted. And Luna says, nothing good happens when you get too obsessed. And Serena's like, yeah.
Oh, obsession's a good theme, too, for this, that they really didn't hit.
Yeah, and Luna goes...
I mean, it was happening, but...
And Luna goes, now think about what you've done. Act sorry.
Again, it just makes more sense. Yeah. And it doesn't have the whole, like, I'm your mom vibe, which is just always strange.
Because she's the same age as her.
So... The sailor says is how the dub finishes off, of course, and it's pretty much what you expect. It's like, having dreams is good, but don't forget to be yourself and be the star in your own show. That's the best way to do it. And then they have Luna show up to be catty because Luna's just a bitch all the time. So Luna's like, yeah, well now apply that to your own life. I was just like, Luna, why are you like this? I think they just think it's funny, but it's mean.
Yeah, she's just so annoying. Like, I don't know. If I was Sailor Moon, like if I was a special superhero, but this was my superhero manager, my momager, like I wouldn't want to be one.
Sorry. Momager.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be one. She's the worst. Like, I feel like Luna's the bad guy. They make her the bad guy.
Yeah. And these jokes are funnier coming from someone who's not presented as your, like, adult manager and more presented as your, friends, like, joshing with you. And also, B, she doesn't make a lot of these same jokes. Like, they just add them in because they're like, she has to be funny, so she'll say something mean to Serena. And the children will laugh, and I'm like, yeah, but she's being mean. Why is she always being mean? Like,
Luna sucks in the dub. She's great in the sub. She's cute. She's so cute in the sub.
So that was an episode.
Yeah. And
they changed a lot. And I think you're right that it came from, we want to take out the Cinderella theme and we have nothing to put back there.
But they didn't have to take out that theme though. That's what I don't understand. Like, you can still have the theme without mentioning Cinderella. Like, it is still a legend. You can still do a rags to riches thing. Because that is a very common trope.
Call it like a princess story.
Yes.
She became
just
a
call
princess.
her a princess.
Or even just lean onto like, you too can be a star. Like, you don't even, I don't know. The glass shoe. Sorry.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Because again, I was like, how is this bad guy thematically tied together with that ice, with the sticky and the, okay.
Yeah. But
there, a weird episode.
There really was no reason for them to cut most of it.
Yeah.
Just
honestly, I would have thought they would cut Marvin, but actually
I would have thought that too. Marvin is so he shows up in the school. There's this moment.
Although guy in a dress jokes were very like allowed and popular in the 90s. Like, and by allowed I mean like they were like, as long as you were actually making fun of the guy in the dress, absolutely go for it. Which is love it.
Yeah, like there's this moment where he shows up to school and they're all talking about like being a star, and he I'm trying to remember like what the context was, but he walks up and he's kind of like doing this walk like he was practicing, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Practice makes perfect," and walks away with the walk, and they're all like, "What?" Because he's doing it so well.
Because that's another one they changed. He shows up, and he's walking, and they're like, Marvin, and he mentions that he's working with Molly, and they all go, what? And Molly gets really mad. She's like, you weren't supposed to tell them you're working with me. I'm so embarrassed. And it just felt weird. I was like, I don't think this is what just happened.
No. I can't remember I think they're all just probably talking about how talented they were, or how they're going to be stars, Yeah.
It was weird. And then they're like, we're going to win.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was a weird show.
Yeah.
I could, coming off the heels of 2 sub in a row that were honestly very good.
Yeah.
And actually even hearing from you that, like, there was a coherent plot in here. It was, and having watched dub episodes that were reasonably good.
Yeah.
This was so bad and so confusing and so incoherent.
So I do have, hold on, because I did take notes on this one.
One of my notes just says evil disco ball.
I have that too!
I was like,
it
disco
literally says ego disco ball.
Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can find mine.
Yes! Evil disco ball.
So both of us were like, it's glass, so it does make a little bit of sense that would be thematically tied in a little bit. I liked the aesthetic of the, like, creepy audience, non-audience. Like, that was a cool effect. There were some cool effects in it. As always, the show has good visuals.
Yeah.
And
it's like a good show.
Shockingly, it turns out it has coherent... In fact, it was kind of fun to see it badly done, because it really showed me all the thoughtful things they'd done in the original. Like, when you saw what they changed, and you suddenly realized how important and how put together a lot of these parts were.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense.
All right, I gotta run to the bathroom, and then when I come back, do we want to jump into moon memories, or do we
I think we should do very, very short ones, because I think we've actually basically filled all the time.
Yeah, we're definitely at like an hour.
A game that I want to try in the future, and I'll try and put this together for next week, and probably forget about it completely, is because I looked up the lyrics for the Japanese theme song, what they translated to see if they had Sailor Moon in them and if they were thematically appropriate for the episode. And it was like, I don't know any of these lyrics. They're very cool. And I was like, man, I could just pull a bunch of lyrics out from the various Japanese songs and just like, and also some other random lyrics, and have you try to guess whether they're in the Sailor Moon songs or not. So
yeah, we can
watch
do that.
For that.
Yeah.
You can see, is it a Sailor Moon lyric or is it something else? I'll have to figure out what the other stuff should be.
What's that?
Is it Shakespearean poetry?
What's that one about tears in the ocean or something? That was the song I was trying to think of last time. It's like, oh, I just had it in my head. Hold on, I'm gonna cut that.
Okay. Cut all of it. We'll do it later.
We're cutting it all. It's this song that I've been trying to remind you of, because you had the CD of it, and I can't remember.
Tears of Pearl?
Yes. How did that song go?
And they cry, tears of pearl. Is that by Savage Garden?
I wanna swim like the waves of the ocean.
The ocean. That's a different song by Savage Garden.
Then
I wanna stand with you on a mountain.
Yeah, that one.
I learned that he taught me that in sign language at a Girl Scout camp. Ooh, that's another thing I've done a performance of.
Yeah.
Bad sign language. Possibly appropriated, possibly outreach. I don't know which.
Remind me to tell you about what kinds of songs I learned the sign language to in church. Later.
Oh.
We can save that memory for next time.
So, Audrey.
Yes.
Would you, since I did the dub, I believe it is your job to come up with a Sailor Moon Says, a better Sailor Moon Says for the episode. So what you think the theme should be?
I mean, Sailor says, don't force your animals to do tricks for you.
Or they might force you to do tricks back.
Yes. Or
that's fair.
Yeah. Because they don't want to do it sometimes. Like Luna.
Yeah.
Or
remember that your animals are friends, not
food.
Coworkers.
Talent.
No, they're coworkers too.
Yeah. What? Or Sailor says a cat does not make a good momager.
Sometimes it turns out that you're not the boss of your cat. Yeah. Your cat is the boss of you.
Exactly. Well, I think that's always true, isn't it, when you have cats?
This is true. I think you're right. But
all right.
But don't be catty. Don't have a cat fight.
Yes. I like that one.
All right, guys. So what is our episode? I forgot to look it up every time.
I've got it
what
here.
What are our episodes for next week? We want to leave the audience with the episode title.
So, oh my god! We meet Sailor Mercury.
Finally!
Yay!
I'm so excited.
The title...
So next time.
Yeah, the title is The Girl Genius is a Monster. The Brainwashing Cram School of Horror.
That sounds so exciting. Yeah. And then the American title is Computer School Blues.
Oh, that's lame.
Well, that's the one you're watching, so enjoy it.
Oh, man. And I feel like I remember hating Ami's voice. Yeah.
Well, enjoy it. You're watching computer dub. I'm watching the sub. So next time I'll tell you all about the good version. No. Hey, maybe it will be better done because they will like the plot better and not want to get their little fingers all involved in it.
Maybe. I mean, the last plot, this week's plot was perfectly fine. They really did not need to change it.
Maybe they're just bored.
I really do think they just think we're stupid or something. I don't know. But hey,
now the plus side is that as far as I know, we aren't going to skip another episode until episode 20.
Oh, that's good.
So we have quite a chain in a row where they decided they would actually translate them.
Yeah, because we have we're going to meet Sailor Mars in like 2 more episodes as well. So that's now it's all kind of speeding up with all 3 of them.
So we get like 2 episodes with Ami and then because I remember it was like we meet Ami, we spend like an episode with her, then we meet Mars, and then I think it's quite a while before we meet Jupiter, who I think is like episode 25-ish.
Yeah, it looks like it's a while.
And then the last one is Sailor V, which works in the series because they tease her from the very beginning, and it's set up like she's going to be the big leader, but then she's not. Ooh. And then at some point, Darien turns evil. And then at some point, they have a daughter. I just vaguely remember that there's an arc where he's evil, and I was very... My little child heart, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, they definitely... I'm very interested to get to the Chibiusa plotline because it made no sense to me growing up.
Will it make more sense now? I'm excited.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But there is like a weird breakup as well. I watched, somebody had posted on Reddit, I think, a clip, and so I rewatched it. And I was like, I remember this happening and still being really confused as to why it was happening.
Story of my life. Someday we'll get to our icons, Uranus and Neptune.
Gay icons.
So excited.
We love to see it.
Yep, I'm very excited to view them as a queer adult.
Yes.
Not through the lens
and as cousins.
English translators. Yeah, not through the lens of cousins. So, things to look forward to.
Don't all cousins hold hands and hug
and kiss
and kiss?
You know, and have an off-screen boyfriend they keep conveniently
mentioning. Oh my gosh, do they really?
So that they make up a boyfriend for Sailor Neptune so that she can mention him all the time so that it's clear that she's got a boyfriend. It's fine.
Oh,
she's definitely straight.
Yeah. Why didn't they just... Well, I was about to say, why didn't they just turn Sailor Uranus into a boy? But then I remember because she still transforms into a skirt.
Yeah, it's the same issue where I don't even think they tried to... I think they didn't even try to translate the Sailor... What were they? The Sailor Stars? The ones that are
they didn't
guys. Bother. They were like, we can't even begin to approach this because these are characters that are guys in their human form and girls in their sailor form, and that was mind-bending for I think American TV.
Totally makes sense, though, if they're from, like the future or the past, but then they get reborn into new bodies. Somebody's going to get born into the wrong bodies.
Yeah. Or you could be gender fluid, or you could be whatever the heck. Like, it all works for me. So I don't know how they actually handle it. But
yeah, we'll see on our journey.
All right. Well, I look forward to meeting you next week.
Yes.
And
We
talk to you later.
Yay.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Let me turn off my recording.
Bye. Bye. Bye.